Hey everyone. Yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of a quick overview and give my thoughts on, of course, Sonic Forces. As you all know, but if you watched my live recent pickups video, I got this on Friday, yesterday, or actually, actually now it's 12:13 in the morning, 2 days ago, or a day and a half ago, whatever you want to call it. And on the first day that I played it, which was yesterday, I got to stage 13 on this thing, and I'll say this. If you played Sonic Generations and some previous Sonic games even before that, with this kind of control, depending on what one you got, if you got, if you got the Switch or you got the Xbox One editions, basically, the control is very similar to what you had with Sonic Generations, and I think even before that, Sonic Unleashed and stuff like that. Um, what's intriguing about this is it is a little tricky at times because you got to remember it's kind of like getting back on a bike after being off it for a while. You basically it's basically like I said, it's basically like getting back on a bike and relearning, what you've known in the past. So, so basically, that's what it's like. Overall, though, I do think the graphics are vastly improved. The cutscenes are very well done, in a sense, to where you feel like if you take the rest of the game, if you take the game perspective, let me do something quickly. There we go. But like I said, if you take the game perspective out of the equation, and you just look at the cutscenes, and you can pretty much do that now here on YouTube. You can pretty much do that here on YouTube. Hold on for a sec. So I had to let my cat out. I had to let our cat out for a minute. But anyway, like I was saying, uh, if you have, well, like I said, you can actually see the cutscenes. Some people have already edited the cutscenes together as a movie. So if you don't feel like playing the game, or if you do play the game but you kind of don't want to like play through it just to go through cutscene after cutscene and all that, and finally find out what happens in the end. You don't want to have to go through all that, then just watch the cutscenes here on YouTube. They do give you a theater mode, which is basically just like with all the other Sonic games. What's funny about it is it's only about 17.99 gigabytes to install, which I think is the smallest I've seen in a while for any games. So that's pretty interesting. What's interesting, what's really interesting about the concept is the way that when you, after it installs and you get the update, maybe a patch or two if it's in there, what happens is you end up starting right at the menu. It's like there's no, it's basically like I can't remember if Sonic Generations. No, Sonic Generations didn't have it like this, as far as I know. It was mostly a startup, and then you had like the cinematic opening, and you went from there. This one is just like go right into it, and the first thing you do is Sonic. Your first thing, well, not first thing you do. Your first character you play as, of course, is Sonic, modern Sonic, and it just progresses from there. And what happens, you start playing it like a normal Sonic game, like you would do with Generations, and when you get to the ending, that's when the first real cutscene begins, and that's when we get it. Well, actually, the first real cutscene, now that I think about it, happens after you press start. You press start, and you get the first real cutscene, and it's basically Eggman along in his laboratory with Cubot and Orbot, looking over his newest creation, which we find out is infinite. which we find out later on is infinite. And basically after that you go into the first gameplay, which is Sonic going through Green Hill Zone to meet up with Tails and stuff. And after you do that, and you do a little bit of a boss battle there. I think there's a boss battle. I gotta look again. Basically, what happens is after you go through the first act, the opening act, you get the cutscene. You get the cutscene with Eggman and Orbot and Cubot. Then you go through the first act, if you will, the opening act. You get another cutscene, and this involves the introduction of Infinite. We find out that there is Zavak from Lost World. We see that there is, like I said, there's Zavak from Lost World. There's Chaos. There's Metal. There's Shadow. But something's a little different about them. And basically, what is found out is this new character, Infinite, which is Eggman's ultimate creation, is not just faster than Sonic, but he's also obviously equipped all the other bosses in this game with the same ability. But it makes you wonder. Here's where I get questioned on this: is this real? Are these really the characters? I haven't, like I said, played through all of it just yet, because Zervak is like one of the first of these 4 bosses, sub-bosses of Eggman and Infinites that you come across. And spoiler, if you haven't played the game, when you beat him, he basically teleports away. It's like suddenly he's all glitchy and everything just teleports away. Like, was it really him, or was it some kind of a clone of what's going on? So basically, the mystery is up in the air. You do get to fight Infinite very soon. You do get to fight Infinite. And by fighting him, like I said, you do fight Infinite. And by fighting him, you actually take him down, but not completely. Because what it is you kind of slow him down. It's more like a slow down kind of pace. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Basically what happens is, going back to the beginning, and you finish the first act, you get like the next cinematic scene where Sonic and Tails encounter, where Sonic encounters not just Infinite and Eggman, but all the other ones that I've mentioned. And because they're all infected by this power, this, I think it's called the Ruby something. It's basically, let me look it up online. But it's a Phantom Ruby or something like that. The Ruby Phantom Ruby. And basically, it's got, I guess it's some kind of power that increases the strength of those infected by it. And Infinite is one of those that's been infected by it. So basically, he and Eggman, I guess, have infected the other characters that I've mentioned. Now, basically, what happens is in this cutscene, they knock Sonic around to basically he is just. Tails is trying to figure out, because here's what happens. So Tails is in the city, trying to protect the people. Kind of keep them safe until Sonic gets there. What happens is when Sonic gets there and he meets up with Infinite and all the others, and he and Tails see that something's off, like something's not right here. Like, why is Chaos? Why is Shadow? Why is Metal? Why is Zavak, as fast, if not faster, than Sonic? Why is Infinite faster? And they're trying to figure out, and Tails gets his little device out, his tablet out, and he can't figure out in time. Because while he's figuring it out, Sonic is getting the living stuffing beat out of him, and he can't figure out what's going on in time, and that's where you end the cutscene with Sonic down and defeated. Now what they do, and I like this, they kind of give you some exposition through text, kind of explaining what happened and everything. And then the next cutscene we get is with the Resistance, which is Amy, Silver, the Chaotix, Knuckles, you name it. So, well, actually, it's just Silver, Amy, and the Chaotix at first. Knuckles comes in later because this part, this cutscene here is important. Basically, is necessary because what it does is it opens up your avatar creation, or allows you to finally custom create your character. And you're very limited at first. I mean, you get enough clothing. You get a fair share of clothing and all that, gloves, whatever. You get your variety of animals you want to choose. So once you've done all that, you get introduced in the next cutscene with Knuckles coming in and bringing you inside along with him, because it is acknowledged that your character is coming on board in the previous cutscene. So in the next cutscene, your created character shows up. And your created character goes on a mission almost automatically. So what I like about this is how you kind of go back and forth. You kind of go back and forth here. And it's during this that classic Sonic does show up. Basically we find out that Tails is just, I guess, lost it. He's basically, who knows what's going on. Because when we finally see Tails again, he's trying to reoperate or repower Omega, who obviously has been destroyed. He's not physically, he's not like, Omega is not like in pieces, but he's just like beyond repair. He's dead, as far as we know. So Tails gets encountered by Chaos, and then this is where a portal opens up, and out comes classic Sonic, and Tails kind of concludes that what Eggman is doing with this new power of his is basically causing a rift again in time. It's basically causing portals to open up from other dimensions. So long story short, you kind of go back and forth, playing as your custom character and as the classic Sonic character, and then finally you get to the part of the game where you have to rescue Sonic, and you got to go to the Death Egg to do that. And once you rescue Sonic, now you got 3 playable characters to play as. Your custom character, Classic, and Martin. So you got all these characters to play as. And like I said earlier, it's a little tricky at first when you get a handle of the controls, especially when you've played other Sonic games on other consoles. Sonic Generations, when I got it for the 360, and I was used to that. I'm replaying it again through the PlayStation Now program on the PS4. So I'm going to try to get the rehandling of that. But like I said, the controls are very similar. They do kind of give you, like I said, they do give you suggestions, just like any game you start out with for the first time. They give you clues and everything of what to do. Every time you hit one of those rainbow translucent question marks, you get information of what to do. Now, thank goodness they don't have a Navi or anything guiding you. So that's pretty good. What you do get is kind of like a global map. Not like flat, but basically like it's global. And you get interactions with the characters through, I guess, walkie-talkies and everything. And this is how you find out Sonic's alive and everything. Because the one thing that's apparent, well, not totally apparent, but seems apparent and obvious to characters like Silver and the rest of the Resistance, is Sonic's done. He's gone. He's no more. But then they find out, oh, he is alive, and Eggman's keeping him prisoner up here, on the Death Egg, and he's just waiting for the moment to blast him and exile him into space. And we find out that Eggman's doing a lot of things that even Knuckles says is low for him, stuff like that, especially when it comes to torturing and teasing and torturing Sonic and gloating towards Sonic and all that. Now, like I said, I've gotten up to stage 13 so far. I haven't completed the whole game yet. I think I'm getting close to that. But overall, from what I've seen a pretty good game. I've already ranked up to about A, C, S's. I've unlocked a lot of additional avatar clothing. And that's one thing I will give credit. Every time you progress in a level, and depending on your rank and your points, you will unlock more clothing items for your avatar. Thus you'll have more variety. So I like that, I really do. And of course they do give you the option, especially with this being the bonus edition that I have, they give you a code, and they basically allows you to unlock these items as well. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you're gonna so along with that DLC code that you get in your bonus edition, or you buy at the store, you're able to equip your character with more avatar gear and all that as well. Overall, my impressions, my first impressions here, after playing 13 levels and I think almost about 2 hours worth of the game, I think they did a good job. I mean, I know some people have been critical about Sonic Forces, and it's obvious they would be, because it's like because it's like basically last year they build up all this hype for this game, and now that the game is out, this is basically what you get. I mean, basically, I can understand why some people are upset. It's like Sega hypes up this game. It's going to be on all these platforms, including the newly released Switch. It's going to be on the Xbox One, maybe the Xbox One X. Well, obviously on the X, apparently. It's going to be on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. They're making all these hypes, even on PC. And a lot of people, I can understand, having this feel of disappointment, like, really, this is it? You know, you just start the game, you don't get no Sega or anything like that. No, you just start the game up, and all you get is the first cutscene, and then you go into the game. You know, so I can understand maybe how they feel. But there are some things I do like about it. I do like when your custom character teams, you know, I think it's when you go to the desert area to take down this weapons manufacturing plant of Eggman's, I like how they give you and your character a power boost, and what it's called double boost or something like that. And what happens is you get this cutscene in the middle of the moment that you get it, and you have to press I believe the square button on the PS4 and the X button on the Xbox One, to where you're grasping hands like this, and you say double boost, and you guys just take off like a shot, both of you at the same time. So, and you basically, by using this double boost, you're able to just get through all kinds of obstacles, almost midway in the desert portion of the game. So you're able to do that. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that was a pretty cool addition. Now, I don't know if they did double boost with Generations. I can't really say if they did or they didn't. So, again, like I said, I can't really say if they did double boost with Generations. I can't say if they did or didn't. But to see something like that here, along with an established iconic character like Sonic, and a character that you've created doing it in a cutscene or a mini scene, I kind of like it. I really do. Like I said, I haven't completed it all yet. I plan to very soon, hopefully. Overall, like I said, my first impressions is I'm cool with it. I like it. Again, I know some people will be critical, like, really, this is it? This is all you're giving us? Well, let's be honest, folks. This, in a sense, along with Generations and along with Unleashed, and along with Lost World, depending on what version you have, you could have the 3DS version, or the Wii version, or Wii U version. You know, depending on how you feel, you gotta admit that this game, along with Generations, along with Lost World, both the 3DS and 2DS version. Let's see, the Sonic Colors on the DS, and I think even, despite how you might feel about it, Sonic Boom, what is this one that Frank Hill gave me? Shattered Crystal. You got to admit that these are vast improvements. These are steps in the right direction. You know, like everybody is saying about Justice League and Wonder Woman, and how those two recent DC movies have been a step in the right direction for Warner Brothers. when it comes to movies. You know, when it comes to the adaptation of DC characters for the big screen. So, basically, you know, it's a step in the right direction for them when it comes to that. So when I look at Sonic Forces, when I look at the Sonic Boom, Shattered Crystal, and Fire and Ice, and even the Sonic Lost World and Earl on the 3DS and the Wii U and Sonic Colors and Generations recently, as far as multi-platform games go for Sonic. I have to say that they are going in the right direction as far as this franchise is concerned. Like I said, I know people may not be totally supportive of it, and they want, because you know, I understand people want things to go back to the way they were in a sense. Like they want Sega to recapture that magic that they had with Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and I understand that, I really do. But like I said, if you take a look at the recent releases that we've gotten, you know, especially multi-platform wise, with games like this, and even you can include Sonic Mania, which is a throwback and a nod and a celebration of Sonic's history. You have to admit that they're going in the right direction. Heck, they've shown when they did the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 game that you were able to download on your consoles by multi-episodes, that they can go in the right direction, that the right team behind them, they can go in the right direction with this franchise. And I think Sonic Forces, yeah, it might have some flaws here and there, there's no doubt about that. It might be a quick game, it's Sonic, well it is Sonic, so what else would you expect? But yeah, it might be a quick game or fast game to complete, but overall I think they did a decent job. And giving us a customization option, basically a created character option with this game, I think is definitely the right step in the right direction. I definitely think it is, because you know we've gotten created character options before, but we've never had one, as far as I know, maybe you guys can correct me, but we've never had one where our created character is an integral part of the story, of the main story. And Sega, to me, is gone in the right direction with doing that, with Sonic Forces. And again, when you look at what they did with Generations, and how people love that game, you look at what they've done with the Lost World games, both versions. You take a look at what they've done with Sonic Colors. You take a look at what they've done with Unleashed. You know, you take a look what they've done, whether you like to admit it or not, with Sonic Boom on 3DS with Shattered Crystal. You know, what else was there? What else was there? I know there was another Sonic game. It was Sonic Unleashed. Well, you kind of get the idea. You look at all the recent Sonic games over the past several years, and it does look like they're going in the right direction. So, like I said, Sonic Mania recently this year, good classic nod to classic Sonic, and Sonic's a celebration of the Sonic franchise. You know, you take a look at the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 thing that they did. They are going in the right directions. They are. There is no doubt about that. And like I said, you take a look at what they have done with, you know, Lost World, both versions, and Shattered Crystal, and I think Fire and Ice. You kind of see that they're going in that right direction. Like I said, Sonic Unleashed is a good example. A lot of people say that was when they really started going in the right direction. Generations is a good example as well. Basically, they're taking the steps necessary to inevitably get that game that a lot of people, a lot of fans are going to praise and say, this is the game we've been waiting for. And I think Sonic Forces, depending on your feelings or not about it, I think is that next step in achieving that. Because it's obvious Sega, whether we criticize them or whether we love them or we don't, whether we've positively criticized them or negatively criticized them, it sounds like Sega now is listening to the fans. Someone from the Sega America side of things obviously got into the ear of those at Sega of Japan and said, look, just having Game Sonic and all that is not enough. You need to expand. You need more. There's a whole other world out there. They probably mentioned the comics. They probably mentioned all these adaptations that have happened, and have said, you know what, fans have loved those. Fans still love those. Maybe you should incorporate that into your games. And I'm sure whoever they got a hold of said, you know what, you're right. Let's give it a chance. And I think they're gonna. And I think they got a big hit here. I think they got themselves a necessary hit here to where you might get a sequel. You may get another game that follows suit. So overall, I'm impressed by it. I really like what I've seen and I've played. One thing I do like the fact is they give you two different versions to get. I got the bonus edition, even though when I went to GameStop, I pulled out the one that didn't say bonus edition, but I ended up getting it anyway. Because I guess it was the only copy they had, or the only copies they were getting, or something like that. So I ended up getting the bonus edition, and then like I said, you do get a code to put these in, and then you get told about this as well. And then, of course, you get a game skin, a controller skin, for your PS4 or your Xbox One controller or your Switch, or your Switch controller. So I think that's pretty cool. But now I think one thing. But now, obviously, people want me to probably address the elephant in the room. Does this game remind me a lot of Sonic SatAM? And obviously, like I said, someone had to have gone to someone obviously from Sega of America had to go to Japan, or at least talk with somebody there, explain the situation, explain that, hey, when Sonic's been over here and been represented over here, we've done more than just keep him as classic Game Sonic or keep him as just ordinary Game Sonic. We've expanded his world. We've given him more. We've given him other characters to interact with, whether they're part of the games or they're not. Basically, of course, that being the not part, being the original characters, like SatAM characters and all that. I'm pretty sure some kind of meeting, some kind of discussion went down to where they explained why he was such a hit over here, more so in Japan. And I think an agreement was made, and they probably decided, let's test it out, see what happens. And obviously, they saw the positive review and the positive reaction that the teaser trailer. The trailer and the teaser trailer last year and earlier this year got for the, what I'm saying is they obviously saw the positive reaction that the teaser they gave us last year and the trailer they gave us earlier this year had gotten. So they decided, you know what, maybe this is a good thing, maybe this is a good idea to go down. And I'm pretty sure when they discussed coming up with this game, they said, well, we want to prove that fans like the expansion of his character and of this franchise outside of the games. Here's what you could also do. And they probably suggested adding in the customization, the creative character option. And that's obviously become a big hit for this game. And that's obviously one of the reasons I think the game is selling. It's selling as good as it is. But yeah, do I see a Sonic SatAM influence? Absolutely. Absolutely I see one. Because, and here's why. Here's why. Because they pointed this out on Twitter. Some people pointed this out on Twitter, and some people, and I'm pretty sure Mega Beatman's going to point this out, or has pointed this out in his reviews. Because one of the things they did to hype up Sonic Forces is they released 3 mini comics online, I believe, online or physically or something like that, to promote it. And in one of these issues, there are pictures. One of these issues, in one of the panels of these issues, you have Rouge sitting down talking, communicating with, I think, Knuckles or somebody, and on the screens, the television screens or the monitors, you see different pictures of characters, and one of the characters that's primarily seen, especially even in the next panel, is Sally. Yeah, Sally's character does pop up there, so that sounds like it's a good sign for IDW when it comes to IDW Sonic. But yeah, Sally is acknowledged in this, and this is a Sega publicized webcomic that Ian Flynn and I think Tracy Yardlin worked on. So maybe they just snuck that in or something, but yeah, Sally was apparently on the monitors in Sonic Forces. But getting back to what I'm saying, um, yeah, I do see an influence because, like I said, going back to Sally being on those monitors in that panel, it does kind of show us that maybe there is some positive communication going on between both Sega sides, and they're realizing, hey, maybe there's more to this whole, Freedom Fighter deal, this whole SatAM Freedom Fighter whatever deal than we thought. And speaking of Freedom Fighters, this is another thing that I don't know if anybody's noticed, but one of the trophies that you earned once you completed, I guess what is it, SOS? It's something called complete. You get the trophy once you've completed what, SOS, whatever, like 5 SOSs or completed SOSs or something like that. I gotta look at it again. But one of the trophies, as far as PS4 is concerned, and I'm pretty sure it goes with the Xbox One and the Switch, one of the trophies is called Freedom Fighter. Yeah, Freedom Fighter. And the only time we ever heard the word Freedom Fighter associated with Sonic, if you will, the only time we've ever had it associated with him is Sonic SatAM in the Archie comics. So obviously, again, there had to have been some kind of communication and discussion of how this game was going to be developed, and how they would, basically what audience it might be really targeted towards. Because if it was only targeted towards gamers, then you wouldn't have had the customization that we had. But overall, I think that they did a terrific job here. But as far as the SatAM influence, obviously it's there. It is very there. I mean, you got a resistance, an underground resistance. You've had Eggman take over the world. I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit on this. Sonic SatAM. I'll give him credit on this. Sonic SatAM, Dick Entertainment, now DHX. I'll give them credit. They basically gave us an understanding of how Eggman Robotnik took over the world in the cartoon, as well as they showed us how he took over the world in the comic. So I'll give them credit there. So we do see how that happens in those interpretations, and I'll give Sega and Havoc and anybody else involved with this a lot of credit as well. A lot of credit, I should say, as well, because we do find out, as I mentioned earlier, in that one cutscene, in that second cutscene where Sonic is being beaten up by Infinite and all the other bosses, we do get to see right there of how the whole Eggman takeover began. So yeah, you could definitely tell there's a huge Sonic SatAM influence in here. You could definitely see it. As far as trying to recreate the SatAM characters in the game, it's a little difficult. I don't know how MJ Knight did Sally, but I did the best I could with a female character. I think the closest you're going to get with Sally, though, is you're going to have to make her a hedgehog in this one. So, but as time goes on, and you get some additional clothing and outfits and accessories for your character, one of them that does pop up as an accessory is a vest. So once you get that, there you go. Especially now that Sally has a vest, or last time we saw Sally in the comics, she had a vest. There you go. And you also get shoes unlocked as well that are very similar in color to what Sally has. So that's pretty cool. And again, some of the characters you can create, one of them is a rabbit, so obviously if you want to do a bunny rabbit recreation, best you could, there you go. One thing I wish they would have added in is hair, basically give them some hair a little bit, like an option like a wig or some kind of hair piece or whatever. I wish they would have added that in, but maybe they'll do that in a sequel game, a follow-up on this, we'll have to see. But yeah, you could definitely see the influence by the SatAM cartoon and the comic books. Just for the fact that this to me, just for the fact that, you know, how the story is paced, how the story takes place, you know, how the story comes about, and you know, you just, to me, you just get that feeling of Sonic, of, you get that familiar feeling, especially if you grew up on Sonic SATM, you grew up on the comics and all that, you get that overall familiar feeling of, hey, this feels like Sonic SATM. This feels like what I read in the comics. And it does. It really does, in my opinion. So, overall, my first impressions right now, even though I haven't completed the game, is it definitely feels like a game that, had it come out 20-something years ago, when Sonic SATM was a big thing, a big deal, and everything, there's no doubt in my mind that this would have been the kind of game we would have gotten back then. Because let's not forget, there were plans to do a Sonic SATM game, but they got canceled. However, had this game and had this technology been around back then, 22 years ago, there's no doubt this, to me, would have been the game Sonic SATM would have been based on. No doubt in my mind. There's no doubt in my mind that this would have been the Sonic SATM game. I just feel it. And if the show was out today, which, by the way, you look on Stars On Demand and Stars Period, it is. But if Sonic SATM was new today, then there's no, and become the hit that it became back then now, then there's no doubt that this would have been the game, that this here, I should say, this game here would have been the Sonic SATM game. There's no doubt in my mind. So, again, overall, my first impressions are, I enjoy it, I like it. And, you know, I haven't, like I said, I haven't finished all of it yet. But I'll let you know. But basically, when I do, I'll let you know. I'll do a full review of it. But these are my first impressions, my first overall impressions of it. And that's really all I'll have to say. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I'll talk to y'all later.